Cheers and welcome my friends, I'm Horath and I'm playing BattleTech. This will not have a mission in it this episode. I'm just gonna go through and talk with my crew, because we have Farah as a new crew member and we'll also have Alexander. Yeah, that's kind of what I want to do, and just see what they have to say. Commander Drak, what can I do for you? Patching up the Argo must have been an enormous job. How'd you do it? It wasn't just me. I had a team working under me, over 200 of Lyriton's most accomplished engineers, electricians and shipwrights. It was really pretty amazing. I've got to say, shouting through a megaphone at a team of hundreds, watching them hang on my every word. How much did Lady Arano pay for all that? It wasn't Lady Arano. The payments came directly from House Centrella. That was a figure of speech. There were indirect payments, of course, routed through countless intermediaries to obscure where the money was coming from. But yeah, the Centrellas paid for it. Now, as to how much the Centrellas paid, I honestly have no idea. I'm sure the figure was astronomical, but still, cheaper than getting dragged into an unwanted war, eh? If this ship turns out to be as important as Lady Arano thinks it will, then it was money well spent. Have you ever managed a team that big before? Never in my wildest dreams. Prior to my time at the Lyriton shipyard, the biggest team I'd ever managed was the crew I had with me on Axilus, and they all got killed. This job went a lot better than that one did, by the way. Only 3 deaths across the entire project, and before you ask, none of them was my fault. There was an accident with one of the industrial cranes, and, well, it was horrible. I pray for their souls. That went off the rails in a pretty big way, didn't it? Sorry about that. I guess I'm still in a little bit of a shock from our time on Axilus. I'm having a hard time getting what I saw there out of my mind. But that's neither here nor there. We're talking about the ship. Is there something else you'd like to know? Let's talk about something else then. Kind of want to know about her personal backstory. Well, let's also find out about the ship. Yes, Commander, of course. Ask me whatever you'd like. What can you tell me about the Argo? Fair amount, Commander. I've been researching this ship for several months. Boeing Interstellar produced just 2 of these beauties back in 2762. They were intended to follow behind the first wave of exploratory missions, supporting multiple surveyor, terraformer and colonizer teams on deep survey missions. Although she's far too large to land on our planet, her docking collar system allows for smaller dropships like your Leopard to come along for the ride. The Argo is a mobile space station, in a sense, providing supply and temporary habitation for teams on dangerous missions in unsettled space. Exploration vessel or no, she sounds ideal for our purposes. She is, and with 57,000 tons of cargo space, she has all the room we need for supplies, spare equipment, personnel, you name it. In fact, her hull is so vast, we'll have no trouble storing as many mech chassis and partial mech salvage as you can get your hands on. Why don't we see more ships like the Argo out here? The Argo is a product of her era. She lacks the armor or maneuverability to function in battle, and she's vastly outclassed in size and firepower by even the smallest warships. She's a peacetime ship meant for peacetime exploration duties and planned with a focus on long-term orbital deployment. It was her non-combat design that ultimately led to her abandonment. In an early era, she might have seen widespread usage, but the fall of the Star League and the near-constant state of war we've endured since then has rendered the Argo little more than a forgotten experimental footnote in the history of dropship production. Sad, really. In her own way, the Argo represents the backseat that science and exploration have taken in pursuit of military goals. Let's talk about something else. Of course, Commander. Ask whatever you like. Okay, can the Argo be improved? From her current state? Absolutely. In the Starleague days, this ship was state-of-the-art. Now that she's a shell of her former glory. With time and seabills, though, there are plenty of ways I can upgrade her. It's about increasing efficiency. As your executive officer Darius is so fond of saying, time is money. He says that a lot, you know. Okay, what about systems and support upgrades? Systems and support upgrades are fundamental to returning the Argo to her former glory. They're foundational. I can do some basic upgrades to improve performance in a few areas, but without improvements to systems and support, you're limited in how far you can go with upgrades. In addition to foundational upgrades she requires, I can also upgrade the Argo's drive system to improve her travel speed, and with some work, I can bring more of her habitat pods back online so you can hire on more MechWarriors and have a place for them to bunk. Tell me about combat and deployment upgrades. Combat and deployment upgrades come in 3 flavors. Those that increase our mech bay capacity, those that improve mech repair and refit speed, and those that intensify MechWarrior training. Increasing mech bay capacity means more BattleMechs ready for immediate deployment. It takes time and CBILs to pull mech chassis out of storage and refit them with weapons and equipment. More mech bay capacity means less downtime. If your lance gets banged up on a mission and needs weeks of repair time, you won't be able to take another contract unless you have mechs in reserve. Improving your repair and refit speed gets your BattleMechs out of the mech bay and on the battlefield, where they can be earning us money. Finally, adding and upgrading MechWarrior training simulators will allow your MechWarriors to improve their skills and abilities during the inevitable downtime of interstellar space travel. That's pretty cool. Tell me about personnel and medical upgrades. Just like BattleMechs, your MechWarriors will need to be patched up from time to time. Upgrading the Argo's medical facilities means getting your people back to work quicker. There's a display of our medical base efficiency and medical points in your travel display under the finances and crew morale readouts. The higher the medical rating, the faster your MechWarriors will heal. As for the personnel improvements, well, I'd imagine they're obvious. MechWarriors need to relax and vent coolant between combat drops. If you don't give them a place to do that, they'll find ways to keep themselves entertained, sometimes to the detriment of the rest of the crew. Upgrading crew conditions on the Argo will have tangible benefits on the battlefield and make life quieter for us on those long voyages. Can I upgrade more than one system at the same time? Sorry, Commander, no can do. The rule is one update at a time, and I wrote it for a reason. I'm the only one qualified to oversee this work, and if I spread myself too thin, bad things could happen. Extinction level things. Well, for us at least. Let's talk about something else. That's enough for now, Dr. Morant. If you're going to be part of this crew, I want a better sense of who you are. Tell me about yourself. Well, I'm an actual doctor, but not the medical kind. I hold 2 doctorates, one in physics, the other in mechanical engineering. And now I'm hauling around in a lost tech wonder with a crew of merry pirates seeking my fortune. It's funny, the places life takes you. We're not pirates, though, I have you know. I was one, but I'm no longer a pirate. I'm a merc. Okay, I've got the elevator pitch. Now give me the long version. Yeah, sure, if you like. Let's see. Where to begin? Well, I was born on Regulus in the Free Worlds League. Regulus, one of the Free Worlds League's founding trinity. Principality of Regulus has a checkered past with its fellow members. Regulus is an economic and cultural epicenter of the world and also holds great religious sway for both the Hindus and Sikhs of the Free World League. Regulan traders range far into the inner sphere, constantly seeking new goods and markets. Free Worlds League is... yeah, we already did a bunch of them. A bunch of contracts for these guys, I think. One of the 5 successor states for the Star League, located rimward and anti-spinward of Terra. Ruled by House Merrick, the League was, with the Capellan Confederation, one of the original signatories of the treaties that would eventually form the Star League. After the fall of the Star League, the Free Worlds League granted broad control over its economy and government to the commander of its military, the Captain General. The League is known for being a powerful mercantile state, but the succession wars have nearly destroyed its economy. The current ruler of the League is Captain General Janos Merrick. Alright then. My parents were academics. I know, big surprise, and I spent most of my early years bouncing back and forth between their suburban apartment and the Ferdowsi, my Baba June's live-in dropship. Your Baba June? Who was that? My grandfather. He'd carved out a nice little business for himself, running a taxi service for pilgrims traveling to and from Dar es Salaam. Dar es Salaam, which means Haven of Peace, is the center of the Islamic faith in the Lyran Commonwealth. The world was colonized in the mid-25th century by Muslim settlers who welcomed the planet's harsh, arid climate as a connection to their roots on Terra. That is actually pretty cool. In the Kim Robinson Mars trilogy, you also have a lot of Arabic people going to settle on Mars because they are already used to harsh conditions. I mean, Mars is like a whole different level of harsh, but it is somehow, in some respects, it is very similar. I really like that this sci-fi universe also sees like that connection between that. As much as my father frowned on Baba June's old-fashioned lifestyle, I believe he wasn't blind to how much I loved the old man, and so he occasionally consented to let me board the Ferdowsi and go along for the ride. I will always cherish my memories of those voyages. The warmth behind Baba June's smile, the excitement of leaving Regulus behind, chatting with the pilgrims, and getting lost in the stars, and eating prepackaged fazanjan out of a shiny tin. Those times are all crystal clear in my memory, as if they happened yesterday. Oh, how I miss that wonderful man. This may seem silly, coming from a mercenary engineer, but I've come to think of the life I've chosen as a way of honoring my Baba June. By carving my own path among the stars, I'm doing what I can to keep his memory alive. That sounds trite, I'm sure, but sue me. It's what I've chosen to believe. What about after you left home? Where did you study? I actually spent a little time in the Lyran Commonwealth before I pursued my studies. Long story that, but suffice it to say that it was its own kind of learning experience. When I did decide to get a higher education, I wound up in the Free Worlds League back again. I did my undergrad studies at the University of Atreus, then went to CN University in the Capellan Confederation to earn my doctorates. This is the most prestigious institution of higher education in the Capellan Confederation. The university welcomes worthy students from across the inner sphere regardless of means. Its economics and political science programs are particularly well respected. CN University also operates an excellent Officer Canada program for the Capellan Confederation Armed Forces. For top 3 school Maskirovka screened admission process, CNU was surprisingly open to transfer students. What's that? The greatly feared intelligence arm of the Capellan Confederation consists of 2 branches. The Chancellor's Hand conducts espionage, gathers intelligence and commits sabotage in foreign territory, while the Chancellor's Will brutally enforces national security and loyalty among the citizens. Yeah, right, it's these guys. The authoritarian state where Yang is from. Okay. Anyway, I could go on and on for hours about my academic career, and you'd probably smile and nod as I rambled, but come on, I mean, this can't be interesting for you, can it? You're a mercenary, you stomp around in a giant robot for a living. The closest I got to adventure back then was my dissertation defense. Now, come on, I'm like a noble, I've studied things and shit, but oh well. That's enough family history. I want to ask you about something else. Have you always wanted to be a shipboard engineer? No, not always. When I was 15, I wanted to be a statistician. You know, a nice, quiet life, alone in the ivory tower. That was what my personal dropship was going to be called, preparing mathematical models and studying survey results. So yeah, you know, every girl's dream. I guess. Didn't you ever want to do anything more, I don't know, exciting? Like being a mech warrior? No. Much as I love the idea of stomping around in a giant robot, I'm not a huge, on the whole, murdering people with lasers thing. It doesn't really square with my personal beliefs. Don't get me wrong, I'm happy to work with MechWarriors. If I wasn't, I wouldn't be here. But the actual firing of weapons? No, it isn't for me. You still seem pretty enthusiastic about it. Why didn't you follow through? Oh, but the whole statistics thing. Well, interests change. I mean, I still like statistics, but it's really more of a hobby now. Is that weird? People have told me it's weird. I don't know. Plotting graphs and forecasting future events calms me. It's like my own little way of using math to bring order from chaos. And besides, everybody needs a hobby. I know for a fact that Darius crochets. Really? Alright then. So, what made you want to get into engineering? Uncle Heine's Experiment World, live-action STEM edutainment program from the Lyran Commonwealth. That's where we're from too. Like, these are the Germans. That's why I guess he's called Uncle Heine. Started airing just after my 19th birthday. You may have seen it. It ran for 3 seasons before it was cancelled. The host was a tattooed, chain-smoking nihilist who taught children the magic of chemistry. You know, making thermite with aluminium cans in a belt sander, that kind of thing. Sounds like a Lyran Kids show, alright. Yes, well, I wound up marrying the host. Yeah, sure. Look, it's a long story, but the important bit is, in the 6 months before the annulment, I learned that I had a real talent with machines. When Heine blew out a power relay or took a tire iron to the bandsaw, I was the one who put it back together again. I found a great deal of peace in that. From there, it was just a matter of getting into the right schools and following my bliss. So that's what I did, and well, here I am. Turned out alright for me, all things considered. So, I think that's about it that we can talk with her. Yep. See you later then, Farah. And we're gonna talk with Alex, I think.
How can I help?
Commander Drak, welcome to my corner of the command center. From here I can provide Mr. Oliver with advice and information whenever he needs it. I want to be a resource for you as well. In keeping with my role as a restoration liaison, I will give you whatever additional information I can about our campaign moving forward. Come see me after any major operation and I'll share whatever I can. I think I'm gonna put that into the proper episodes then. I'd like to discuss the state of our war against the Directorate. Things are going well enough, Commander. Our initial attack on Worldry was an enormous success, despite the psychological cost of what we've discovered there. Still, the Directorate's atrocities have steeled our resolve. I've never seen Lady Orana so determined. Out of curiosity, what did you think of her speech? I recorded it, you know. The broadcasts are on their way to every corner of Directorate space. Sounded raw, from the heart. Mastiff would have been proud. Good, that's what I was hoping to hear. The presumption of authenticity will carry us far. From what it's worth, Lady Arano meant every word she said, but the people may not see it that way. Espinosa's propaganda machine will do everything in its power to tarnish our accomplishments and drag us through the dirt. I can imagine the headlines now. Police and civil servants cut down by weapons of war. Dangerous convicts set loose by a traitor, endangering nobles and commoners alike. Dangerous narrative, and one that we'll have to counter at every turn. With luck, many of our people will believe what they've heard in our broadcast over the Directorate's propaganda, but I fear that Espinosa's hardline supporters will be far less eager to listen. If we fail to turn them against the Directorate, we run the risk of ongoing violence even after we liberate their home systems. That's why messages like Kamiya's speech are so important. If the Directorate is using propaganda, we need some of our own. Got it. Sadly, yes. If we're going to win this war, we need to rally the Oregon people, including a percentage of Espinosa supporters. They have to see that we're better than the Directorate, again and again, until our message is impossible to ignore. For you, that means military victories. For me, it means more broadcasts, spin, and outreach. Public opinion is just another battlefield, and I'll be knee-deep in the trenches until the day I die. Okay, you're new to this crew. Tell me about yourself. I'd be happy to, but honestly, Commander, I've been so consumed with matters of war of late that I wouldn't even know where to begin. Tell me about who you were before Kamiya's exile and the Restoration. Noble Scion, much the same as you were, from what I understand. As a fellow noble, I'm sure that you already know more than most about my upbringing. It was a life of great privileges and of even greater expectation. I spent my early years invested in academic pursuits. The study of history, mathematics, and statecraft. I strove to excel at every subject, anything to avoid disappointing my mother and father. The extent to which they would come to disappoint me is a cruel irony, but it's one that I've come to accept. What kind of expectations did you have to meet? Do you know House Madeira's motto? Behold our splendor. I had a familial obligation to live extravagantly, and to do so within the public eye. But I was also expected to develop my intellect. My life was a 50-50 split between carousing and academic study. In truth, it felt like I was leading two lives and putting on a show in both. But I'll never complain about my upbringing. I have enjoyed advantages that most children of the periphery could only dream of. Really, academic study and carousing don't go together? Tell that to any student. I've done plenty of carousing during my studies, and I'm pretty sure most other students have as well. Oh well, must be hard to have your own parents betray you. Oh, it is. Nothing could be harder. When Kamiya retakes her throne, there will be a reckoning, and Directorate collaborators will be tried for their crimes. My mother and father will be at the front of that list, and as terrible as it feels to say it, they'll deserve whatever punishment they receive. Sorry to hear it. Let's talk about something else. Tell me about Goldra. What kind of world is it? Oh. He says, your apologies are unnecessary. By any metric you care to mention, I've lived a charmed life. The hardships of the past 3 years don't erase the lifetime of privilege I enjoyed before Espinosa's coup. It would be dishonest of me to pretend that they did, but still, I'm happy to change the subject if you wish. Man, that is one self-reflected dude. He is very aware of being a privileged man, to the point where I'm not sure if that's really believable. Like, if you're super privileged, are you really aware of your privilege and like reflected in that way? Maybe he's just a very well-developed personality, I guess. Tell me about Goldra. What kind of world is it? Truly beautiful one. You should really travel there sometime after all of this is over and see it for yourself. Imagine lush green lowlands giving way to mile upon mile of white sand coastline, sandy beaches kissed by warm salty seas, and soft rain perfumed with saffron and cardamom. And that's not to mention the wildlife. Close your eyes and imagine it, Commander. Shield turns, wheeling and soaring, their brilliant plumage glittering in the sunlight. Leviathan sablefish flashing silver beneath the waves. Dolphinfish leaping, breaching the surface of the water in riotous streaks of yellow and green. Places like Galdra are special, Commander Drak. They must be preserved. That is what we're fighting for. Something unspoiled and unique, and ours. Something that reminds us of how good the periphery can be. Alright. I think that's all we're gonna get out of him.
Always a pleasure, Commander.
Do you have anything new to say? Nah, I don't want the contracts.
You got questions?
Oi.
I have answers.
Commander Drak, I'm sorry about what happened in Weldry, with Sir Roger and all. If only we'd known. I'd have invaded the Directorate myself to get him back, but now it's too late. You said that you knew Mastiff, that you fought by his side. I did have that privilege, yes. I didn't know him as well as you did, of course, but we were together in the trenches of the Fjaldr campaign and raised a glass with Sir Roger in the canteen on more than one occasion. When you think of the old man, what jumps into your mind? Family. The old man was so damn proud of his family and heritage. There wasn't a drop of noble privilege in his veins, but the Montgomery name carried weight. Hard as nails since the dawn of time, his father used to tell him. Those were his family words and personal creed, and I can personally attest to their accuracy. When we were fighting alongside the Royal Guard on the Fjaldr campaign, a pirate-driven hunchback managed to flank us. Decker was piloting a Locust at the time, and the bastard took its leg clean off. The Locust went down hard, and Decker blacked out. He was a dead man. There was nothing we could do to keep that hunchback from putting a foot through his cockpit, and it would have if Mastiff hadn't come charging in with his Centurion. His first punch took the hunchback's main gun clean off. He was totally matter-of-fact about it. It wasn't a desperate swing or a panicked move. He just calmly put his fists into the pirate mech's weapons pod, grabbed it and wrenched it free from its moorings. It was like, I don't know, like watching a farmer uproot a tree stump, you know, workmanlike. And all the while we could hear the pirate over an open channel screaming and cursing as he desperately tried to fight back. The old man took that hunchback apart, piece by piece. I imagine a veteran prize fighter locked in a cage with a snot-nosed kid, with no rules or referees in sight. He put on a clinic for everyone to see. The rest of the pirates broke rank and fled when they saw what happened to their friend. Can't say I blame them. In their place I'd have done the same. That's what the Montgomerys were. Warriors for as long as anyone could remember, born to fight and temper on the battlefield. And so Raju was the last. He had never any children, you know. The Montgomery line died with him. Did he ever show you that enormous knife he used to carry? The kukri? Yeah. Don't see too many of these outside of the Free Worlds League. These days kukri blades are mostly associated with the Force Regular and Hussars. A Free Worlds League regiment founded in 2762 from the Nepalese inhabitants of the Mosquito system, notable for its quick strike tactics and for its infamous Royal Gurkha Battalion heavy jump infantry. Alright. Not Mastiff though. He claimed that he'd inherited that curved blade beauty from his grandfather, who'd inherited it from his grandfather, and so on, all the way back to the family's origins on Terra. During the Fjaldr campaign I saw him use the blade against a pirate twice his size, split the bastard's skull like a rotten cantaloupe. It was horrifying and beautiful all at once. You don't see that kind of skill every day. I wonder what happened to that old blade of his. It wasn't with him and Weldry. The old man must have felt like he'd lost a piece of himself when the Directorate took it away. Thanks for the talk. Next time we're on shore leave, let's raise a glass to the old man's memory. Yeah, Horath, I'd like that. And so, I think, would he. Everything else we kind of already asked him, so go on.
You know where to find me.
Oh, wait. Catch up? Maybe he's got something new. Nope. We're done there. What about this? Yeah, no, we're totally fine. Alright, anything else I wanted? Yeah, I guess I can talk to Samir and Yang as well. Maybe they have something new to say. Hello, Yang. How's it going? How are you liking the new ship? Love it. She's a big old ship, Commander. This bucket can carry more tonnage than I know what to do with. And the mech bay. Man, that mech bay. Do you have any idea how tough it is to refit a mech on a leopard? Other mech techs won't even try it. You've got no room to maneuver, no room to do anything. The odds of getting killed in some horrific industrial accident go right through the roof. I guess what I'm trying to say is that I like the new ship, and I especially like the fact that it isn't my job to keep her flying anymore. I guess that puts Lady Arano in my good graces, which is rare for a wannabe Empress. Lord Madeira too, hell even Centrella. As long as they let us keep the Argo, they're all fine with me. Sounds nice. Okay, let's get back to it.
Come back anytime.
See if Samir has anything to say.
Yes, Commander?
Hello. What do you think about the Argo? Are you going to be able to fly this beast? She's different. Piloting her won't be a problem, but I can't say I'm happy about living on a piece of lost tech. Too many questions. Question marks for my case. That said, I get the necessity. The leopard is just too damn small. Anyway, as long as we're able to restrain ourselves from pushing any mysterious buttons, we should be okay. That's what I keep telling myself anyway. And life aboard the Argo should continue to improve as Dr. Murat brings new sections of the ship online, so we've got that to look forward to. You got that right. I'm gonna fix this bucket up the first chance I get. Sounds like a plan to me. Can't wait to see what you do with the place. Personally, I'm rooting for a day spa, but I'm easy. I'll take what I can get. Yeah, sure. Day spa on a MechWarrior ship. That's the first thing I'm gonna install. Alright, well, this is gonna be a shorter thing. I don't think we have anything more to talk about. Like, I talked with everyone in here. So, yeah, thanks for watching. If you're watching these episodes, I appreciate it. I think that these episodes belong into the Let's Play, but I also want to give the people that do not want to see these episodes all the talk, the chance to skip it. So that's exactly what I did. Thank you very much for watching. Hope I see you in the next one with a lot more action and a new mission. Bye bye.